So welcome back to the Couch Confessionals, where we go behind the blog to get to know the blogger. And on the couch today is Dee Dee Canhigh, the spice of suburbia. I can't quite say it like you. But thank you for coming all the way down from suburbia to suburbia.
No, this is suburbia. Yeah, I love driving through, seeing the trees. It's so full. I love it.
So, when did you move to suburbia? From where? And what was there a culture shock of sorts?
Okay, so I grew up 25 years, literally a mile from Manhattan in North Bergen. I don't know if you're familiar, but I was literally a 5-minute bus ride into the heart of Manhattan. So for me, I moved from there to Bloomingdale, New Jersey, which I went from tractor trailers and sirens to birds chirping, and you could even hear the squirrel's feet on the roof. And it was the most, I think the sound, the sensory was the biggest challenge when I moved. That was
so quiet.
The hugest culture shock. It was so quiet that it made me uncomfortable. Actually made me, I'm not even joking.
So speaking of shock, you just turned 40. Happy birthday.
That's a lie. I don't know what she's talking about.
40 minus 20.
You're going to spread rumors on the other show. Yes, I turned 40.
All right, so tell me, what was that like?
Well, I prepared myself for, to wake up and be like, oh my God, I'm 40. That's it. It's all downhill from here. And I woke up like it was any other day. Yeah. And everybody spoiled me. I mean, turning 40, if I could do that, celebration every day. I mean, from work, they got me a wedding cake at work. A tiered cake. My sister threw me a giant surprise party. I was just showered in love that I couldn't even, factor in that I am a whole new digit. I'm 40, you know? I don't think it's that big of a deal yet.
Yeah.
So,
and you should be celebrating like that. We all should be celebrating like that, you know.
Every day.
Yes. So, what are you leaving behind in your 30s? And what are you going to take from your 30s and bring into your 40s?
Let's see. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe I should have thought about this. I don't know. I function on this vibration where even when things go terribly wrong, there is a lesson in it.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I'm short-tempered and things like that, I catch myself. I talk to myself. I say, that's not how you do things. I apologize a lot. I never used to be an apologizer. So it might not be something that's going to change or what, but it's something I'm going to continue doing and growing and learning. And when I make a mistake, I'm the person who's like, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. And sometimes people think that I'm being facetious, and I'm not. I'm serious. I'm if I'm wrong, and I'm going to let you know. So,
because that's a lost trait, is apologizing.
Oh, yeah. I lost it. I had lost it in my 20s, I think. And then little by little, my husband is an apologizer. Mm. When he does something wrong, he doesn't apologize right away. He takes some time, and then he apologizes. And I'm and it feels good to get that, the acknowledgement. Yeah, you're right. I did screw up or whatever. And so I was I need to do that more often. People I like to hear it. So I don't know. I think I might not change much, but I might grow from a lot of what I started doing later in my 30s. Yeah. And take that over to my 40s and hopefully forever. Because they're all pretty good things that I learned towards the end of my 30s.
Your blog, Woke, is the highest read and highest ranked blog on the Daily Field since we launched in April. So huge. So first and foremost, for those who haven't read it, can you tell them what it's about? And then can you tell us, was that the hardest blog you had to write? Because you wrote some pretty kind of deep, interesting blogs. And what did you go through while writing it?
All right, well, that's cool information to know that,
Yeah.
that it was received. Because I think what the blog is about is being in an interracial marriage. I'm Caucasian, I'm Swedish, I'm Italian, I'm German, I'm like all these things. And then I marry a Trinidadian man who couldn't be more, like, he is a Trini. Like, he loves soca music, he loves his culture, we have, we celebrate things totally, our cultures are so different. Even funerals are celebrated differently. So I get into this marriage where I am learning about a totally different culture, and then we have a child. And we're trying to, like, raise her to appreciate both of her cultures, and then also figure out what she's going to identify as. So when I started the blog, it was about her and how I was going to raise her to appreciate both her cultures and know that, she is all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I continued to write, it turned into this whole thing of me, like, pouring out my guts about how hard it was to watch her struggle with identity and to take her to a school where she was, the only child of mixed race. Mm-hmm. And to, like, put her in this school, and she looked around and nobody's parents looked like her parents. And it was for maybe the first time that I really actually processed that myself, was when I was writing it. Of course, these were all things I noticed, and it was just never something I actually sat down and tried to, like, process. And so I sat with her because I wanted her permission to write about her, and I also wanted her feedback. Like, how did that feel when this happened? And so it was actually a collaboration of, like, things that she said to me when I asked her those questions and what actually happened in the moment when these things were happening. And a lot of what I realized when I was writing was people weren't, being nasty or mean when they ask questions like, what are you? Like, you don't realize when you're asking a child, what are you? Like, what the hell do you mean, what am I? I'm a kid.
Right.
Like, what? Like,
right.
But, now as an adult, like, I understand people when they say, like, you're so exotic. Like, to me, exotic is not, like, something that you say to somebody because I have a child that's been called exotic her whole life because of the way she looks. It was very hard to write. I cried when I wrote it. I cried when I sent it to you. Mm-hmm. I remember, like, texting you, like, I don't even know how this is going to be received. We're in a polarized time right now.
Yeah.
Where, like, even talking about it, I get choked up because I'm like, I just want people to understand her perspective.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
And I remember the exchange that we had because first you said I want to talk to Chloe before I even think about writing this. Mm-hmm. So you obviously interviewed her, but then even like you just said, even once you sent it, you're like I'm a little hesitant.
So scared about how it would be received.
Yeah. Well, it was received,
I'm
girl.
so glad too. And I got such nice feedback from the people that I knew who were like, I never realized, like, I probably said those things to you. Yeah. And I'm like, it's okay, you know? Like, it was a learning process for all of us.
Yeah. It's so very different, but I just think in my world it's autism. Yeah. So I just think it's just, making people more aware and giving them the tools needed to converse about it because we need to talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
so you're obviously a spiritual person. Were you spiritual before you went? And what was the kind of tipping point in terms of like
spirituality?
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, I was raised without religion. Mm-hmm. My parents were going to let me decide. In high school, I dated a Catholic boy whose family brought me to church all the time on Sunday, and I loved it. I loved religion. So I started exploring religion, and I became a Catholic. I was baptized and all that, but I realized that there were parts of all the religions that applied to me, but no one that completely, entirely, I was like, that's what I am. I'm devoted to that. That's something I'm willing to, practice what I preach and tell people what I am. None of them really were encompassed everything, So when I found spirituality was probably like in 2005, when I was in my 20s, my late 20s, and I realized, well, I don't have to be religious to have a connection with, a God and just anything, I could be a good person and not fear I'm going to go to hell, things like that. So, I started to live a spiritual life rather than worked so hard to live a religious life,
Right.
So it had a lot to do with that. And then going to Bali was the epitome of my spirituality. So it was a lead up to that amazing gift. And then from there, I've been on this spiritual high where I'm just always crystals and I love. And I'm always you're not allowed to say the H word in my house. And my kids' friends will come over and be like, I HATE that food. And I'll be like, it's the end word. You don't say that word in my house. And they're like, but they'll be dropping fuck and shit. And I'll be like, that doesn't bother me, but you do not say the H word in my house. Literally.
That's like in a Catholic household. God forbid to use God's name in vain.
Exactly. That is
I love that H word.
The H word is so
That's amazing.
Hard. And that was it. Years and years ago, I was like, nobody's to ever say that word under my roof. And they get in my car, nobody says the H word around me. And if they do, they go, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, don't be sorry. You just think about what you said.
Yes.
You know how deep that word is?
Mm-hmm.
It should be as deep as love.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We definitely need to be more conscious
of
our words, period, but how we use them and
Yeah, and to use that word, you have to think that is the worst feeling you could possibly have of something. And really, do you really dislike food that much? Take it easy.
No, that's amazing. Okay, so I asked every blogger this question. If you knew me, you would know
that I drive around with protest posters in my trunk.
Just for shits and giggles, or when
you never know what you're going to pass and might want to join. So if you really know Dee Dee, you know that if you open my trunk right now, there are 20 posters back there from Save the Planet to Coexist. And I will stop my car, put in park, tell my family I'll be an hour late, and stand there with my sign. And it annoys everybody,
but we need more of
it's
you.
It's who I am. If I see something that I do not believe in, and I know there's a poster in my trunk, I'm going to pull that baby out and be like, hey, I'm here for what I believe in.
Yeah.
And I'm always pleasant. I actually made friends with people who I have complete opposite opinions just doing that. And they're like, we give you a lot of props for just coming here alone. And I'm like, what are you going to do to me? Happened the other day. It was funny. But yeah.
So do you have a daily practice or daily ritual? And what does it look and feel like?
Yes, I do. I am very ritualistic. I don't grocery shop for the week. I grocery shop every day.
Wow.
I'm a vegetarian, and so every day it's got to be thought out, or else I'm starving, and I get hungry very often. So I always need something handy. I've been a vegetarian. This Thanksgiving will be 3 years. Wow. So my ritual starts first thing in the morning. What am I gonna eat? And then it goes from there. I get up. I do this thing where I put both feet on the floor at the same time, never one at a time. It's like grounding myself, and I'm just gratitude goes as soon as my feet touch the ground. It's I let out a thank you, universe. And then at work, I always walk in the door and I'm like, good morning, everybody. Whether it's one person there or 10 people there, I always say good morning. I'm a morning person. I usually don't get a good, if you ever watch my Snapchat, you'll see I usually don't get a good morning back. I get grunts. But that will not stop me. Good morning, everybody, when I walk in and go to my office. And it's very, it's like my little cozy nest. I love my job. I love my office. So I'm very pleasant. I walk around and I'm always and, you know.
You set the tone.
Yeah, I kind of do.
Yeah.
And if I'm not in the best of moods, I just go back there and keep it to myself. But so then when I get home, it's all about the dog and like all the love in the world from a 4-pound dog you can't even believe. And then it's straight to yoga, meditation, goddess bath, which is a whole other thing, which I'm going to write about.
Oh, yeah.
And then podcast bed.
So you meditate at night?
I meditate at night because I do, my last 2 hours are what I call my goddess hours. That's where, like, nobody's concerned with what Dee Dee's doing. My husband's doing what he needs to do, my daughter's doing what she needs to do, and I'm doing what I need to do for me, which is take my goddess bath, my meditation, doing my yoga. I go to a wonderful yoga studio, and then by the time I get in bed, I literally would never know if I listen to the podcast or not because it's, and I listen to wonky podcasts too, or books in my earbuds. And that's it. It's just very, like, dedicated to me.
So you wrote a blog about a tattoo that you regret.
Is it out?
No.
Okay. You would think it'd be like my finger tattoos that everybody's like, what's with the prison tattoos? I love my finger tattoos.
How many tattoos do you have?
17.
17. When did you get your first?
Oh, gosh. This is a big joke in my family. It's like, you know, when you're 16 years old, if you don't take me to get a tattoo, I'm going to go to an undergrad. And I was a nasty 16-year-old, let me tell you. I'm going to go somewhere, use some dirty needles, and get some tattoos, and then that's going to be the end of me. And my parents were like, oh, we better take her because she's not messing around. So when I was 16, my parents took me to get a tattoo, which made my daughter think when she turned 16,
I was going to say.
I was like, that's not how it works. No.
What was good for me is
not good for you at all. Trust me. Oh, we had this argument last night too. It just goes on all the time. What you used to do, don't worry about what I used to, because I used to a lot of things, and you're not gonna do them.
I always say, and it's mostly when I worked with teen people. I used to say to them, do not get a tattoo until you know who you are. Because then you end up with, like, you know, a Mickey Mouse.
We don't know what it is.
A random symbol.
Okay. Like, if you read the blog, I've had people ask me if it's a barcode. Like, a barcode. That when you go to, like, Stop and Shop, they're like, beep. Yeah, like, they think that, like, I have a barcode between my breasts. Oh, it is horrible.
Oh, my God.
And the worst part about it is, I knew what I wanted. I was 19 when I got this. And I told the guy what I wanted, and he had such a great idea. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Just lay there, my boobs out.
Permanent.
They were perky at the time, so I thought I was cute. And I was just like, yeah, go ahead and put it on me. And I saw it, and I'm not even like, from the second I saw this tattoo, I regretted it. I bawled my eyes out as soon as I left. He was scary. Like, Killer Ink or Ink Killer. I will never forget. It's one of those two. I got to my car. I couldn't cry in front of Ink Killer or whatever. But when I got to my car, I sobbed. I'm like, how do I explain this? Because there's no hiding it. Even right now, it's just a little bit. And it's, fuck man. Rest of my life, I'm going to be explaining this tattoo. And I was. And, you know, I'm in labor. They're like, oh, look at you. You got tattooed. Look at that. That had to hurt. This can't possibly hurt. And I'm just like, not the moment right now. Do you want to breastfeed? No. I don't. I'm not even kidding. Then I have a kid. I moved to suburbia. All these moms are just like wearing their like cute little camo stuff, and they're like they're wearing their and they got their boots up here with the fur, and I'm just like out showing up to soccer in like Fendi boots with heels. My husband's like, you're gonna have to start your wardrobe all over again. And I'm like, he's like, and can you get some turtlenecks?
So, are you done?
Well, I'm done, but not for the reason you would think.
Yeah.
I would love to get more tattoos. I love tattoos. But I suffer from an autoimmune disease and rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
And when I have flare-ups, my tattoos get rejected. They flare out of my flesh.
Wow.
And they get irritated and red. And it's like an allergic reaction. Basically, my body's trying to fight anything it doesn't recognize. And the ink is one of the things.
Wow.
So my rheumatologist basically told me, stop doing that because it just gives your body more irritation.
Right.
So I didn't know that until the last year. But
Wow.
there is one tattoo that, like, we as a family have decided we should all get. My daughter was born at 444, and that's, like, our magical number.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, like, I said, when you're older, like, maybe your 21st birthday, we'll get, like, a small 444 somewhere. And she's like, okay, so I might do that. But that's against doctor's orders. I don't think he'll watch this.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like, that is something that symbolizes
Yes.
something so significant. You know what I mean? You don't
Exactly.
think like that when you're 16, 18,
Yeah, no.
20.
Every tattoo I got after this one,
Yeah.
I love. Because
Yeah.
I actually thought about it, went in there, stood my ground. This is what I want. I don't want your version of this.
Right.
This is what I want. And they're all so loved. All the tattoos I have that are after this. Anything I have before this is just like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? I can't even
I think
have
anyone who got tattoos at a young age have those tattoos.
I
have two of them.
Oh, gosh.
So I ask every blogger this question too, and this is the finale of the confessional.
Well, now I'm having fun. Now I don't want to leave.
So what is it that sets your soul on fire?
Love. Is that corny?
No. I think we need so much of it right now, right?
Love. I love seeing my friends in love. I saw my friend of my entire life just had a baby, and I saw him holding his new baby, and the love, I could have just vomited. It was just so, it made me just like explode. I looked at him and I was just like, oh my God, he's so in love right now.
Yeah.
And like, just being like my grandfather is 89 years old, and I just look at him and I'm just like, I fall in love with him.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's really, really sweet. Sometimes he's not, and I still love him. And it's just love in every shape. Like, love on my yoga mat. Love at work. I love my coworkers. Like, I love going to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just love love. It's silly.
Well, no wonder why.
How
the
much
opposite of love is
It's
hate.
the H word.
Yes. And so no wonder why you do not want that in your life.
I love love. I just can't get enough of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh my
for
gosh.
traveling all the way
This
down from suburbia to suburbia.
This was not as hard as I thought it would
See?
be. I felt like I was just talking to you. I forgot the camera was there. So I might not watch it because I was scared. Because I don't even know what I said because I thought I was just talking to you.
You were.
But thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me on the Daily Field.
Oh, it is
I have
my
questions
honor,
for
my
you.
friends. Yes.
I know you already.
Yes, I've already been on the
I have
couch.
questions for you.
Okay.
What made you choose me? Out of everybody that you've chosen, I know, but me specifically.
You know what's interesting is, I study human behavior for a living. I'm a qualitative researcher, so I observe what people do and say and how they live, and I do it mostly on social media.
Okay.
So and I think I mentioned this, when I, thought of the idea, I certainly did not want to do it alone. I'm all about, bringing people together. I started to pay attention to people's feeds.
Okay.
And what they were saying. And because I am, I analyze the shit out of things,
So you
I
were
started
subconsciously
to,
doing it?
yeah, but not in a stalker creepy.
No. That's what I mean. Like, you didn't even realize you were doing it.
No.
Okay.
I started to see that there were people that had very interesting narratives that they were telling in headlines, but they didn't necessarily have a forum to tell it in full script. You did, because you were a blogger before. I mean, really, I was reading your blog before I even, this was even a blip on my radar. So, and because I liked your story and what you had to say on your blog, I'm like, I wonder if she would blog for the Daily Field, even though she had her own platform. So that was, and I always kind of loved your family and loved what you were all about. I love your family. So it was, it was just kind of, and I was saying this when Jen asked me the question. Within 3 days, I had the 12 bloggers.
Really?
Because everyone I asked, you answered immediately, and
yes.
I'm in.
Yes.
Cherry, Jen, Deborah Levine. I mean, all were like, yes. So
and we're all so different. That's what I love about it.
All so different. But we come together. We have this like commonality, and that's courage and bravery to tell our story, and be okay with that. And I'm so very grateful. It's my new therapy.
Wow, that's awesome.
So thank you so much, Janet. And thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time on the Couch Confessional.